Hi, Islamic Dad here. Going to do a video today on a specific subject because it's April Fool's Day, and that subject is how to get back together with your narcissist. Now, I know that on a lot of the other narcissist support channels, that there's a theme with a lot of people asking this question, oddly enough. And so I thought it would be fitting to tackle that on April Fool's Day. So right off the bat, the obvious answer is no. Do not get back together with your narcissistic ex. Just period. You already know that. That said, some of us have to learn this lesson the hard way. I'm one of them. With my narcissistic ex-girlfriend, we were together for about 3 years, and we had already broken up, I think, once or twice by then. The kind of silly 24-hour breakups. But there was more of a dramatic incident that happened, and we, formally broke up. And I had already been aware of how to handle that situation, so to speak, and immediately just, went into automatic mode. And so I'm sure a lot of you have heard no contact. Now, no contact can be used for various reasons and, different intentions and, in fact, different, methods of implementing no contact. For me, I knew from the instant that we broke up that, one, we were going to get back together, and two, that I wanted us to get back together. And so I knew enough that the way to do this, and I'm sharing this because if you want to stick your hand back in the fire and get it burned, I will tell you how to do it. So what I did was I immediately went no contact, meaning I only replied to her first post-breakup text with, I need to work on myself, and once I've gotten to a point where I've sorted these things out and I'm the person that I want to be, I will reach back out to you and we can see how that goes. And she sent a couple more texts about getting pizza and stuff like that, and had left notes around my place, saying, I love you, I'm sorry this, happened, blah, blah, blah. So, the dynamics were very different in that instance, in where the breakup happened, but there was no, what people would call the discard, or, there was no, she didn't dead me or anything like that. It was very much, okay, we broke up. And if you want to call it hoovering, you can, but really just really, soft type of, reaching out, touching type things. And, it was me who said, no, I'm going to, work on myself, and I'll reach out to you, when I feel like I'm in a place that I want to be. So I did that, and I did work on myself, and that's kind of like, in the context of getting back together with an ex, that's kind of the model is, post breakup, you work on yourself. You don't do things necessarily with the hope of getting her back. You do things with the intention of just being a better you. And so, and in doing so, you end up being a better person for, your ex, or more attractive. So I, went through that, bought new, all the cheesy stuff, bought new clothes, worked out a lot, maybe did some stuff like, run a 5K or release a song or something like that. And so I did these things. And in this type of, model of getting back with an ex, you may have heard the phrase like 30-day no contact, or 45 or 90-day no contact, as if there's this magical number. So for me, I was going to do 30-day no contact and then just kind of play it by ear from there. And it was interesting because I did the 30-day no contact and said, hey, what's up? How's it going? Let's go get that slice of pizza, that we talked about. Playing it super cool. And I could tell from, kind of what I had learned later on, that she was already back in the place to get back together within 2 or 3 weeks. So we're talking like between 14 to 21 days. I could have walked back into her life and she would have been like, okay, let's work on this. And it was actually me that waited to the 30-day mark. That said, she was, very strange, very odd, very robotic, which is fine. I just, played it cool. And, we both did the like, keep in touch, blah, blah, blah. And anyways, we had, a couple of what I would call soft dates after that, where it's, I know you really like Egyptology, and there's this really cool Egypt exhibit at the museum. I thought it'd be cool for us to check that out. Okay, cool. It's not necessarily like, let's go get dinner and go dancing or anything like that. Just, really, soft date to kind of like ease back into being comfortable around each other. And for me, it worked like a charm. It actually worked really well. And the one thing that I will say that I don't think gets communicated when people are trying to like get back with their ex, the ironic thing is like you can't be the one to do it. And what I mean by that is that you go no contact, you work on yourself, you become the best you can, maybe get some new clothes so you can be like, oh, look, it's the new me, literally. And you put you reconnect at a friendly social level, you put yourself back out there and, make yourself, be as attractive as you can without getting ridiculous or anything. But ultimately it is it is your ex's choice to get back together. They have to be the one to initiate things. I mean, please understand that, like, if you're like, hey, you want to get back together, boom, game over. You lost. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Just fold up the board, put it in the box, put it on the shelf. You lost. Go find another game to play. You cannot be the one to broach that subject and have that conversation. I mean, that's my opinion. If you want to prove me wrong, go ahead. But, I think that my experience and the experience of others that have played this game is that you put yourself out there, you reconnect socially, hopefully on an emotional level, and let them be the ones to say, hey, this has been nice. Do you want to try to get back together? you have to let them be the one who comes up with the idea and brings up the conversation. Or else I just don't think it's going to work. So that is what I did, and it worked like a charm. I followed that script, if you want to call it that, and we were back together, formally, officially within like 45 days, and she was like, throwing our photos together all over social media and changing her status and all that type of stuff. And yeah, and it was a huge mistake. The, you know, the year and a half after that was complete garbage. Um, I don't know if it was that things were dead and we just pretended that they weren't when we got back together. I mean, I actually don't think that, but I think it was just that would have been an appropriate time to just walk away and start the next chapter of my life instead of trying to go back and read that chapter again. And yeah, so I had a year and a half of absolute garbage. Not fun, not fulfilling. I was expending a lot of energy trying to get back to where we were, before this happened. I kept waiting for her to match my effort, to show me, not just tell me that she wanted things to work out, that she wanted things to be good. And yeah, I mean, to a large extent, I just kind of wasted a year and a half of my life because I chose to get back together with my ex. And needless to say, when it ended this time, it was bad, bad. And again, I'm not going to go into it in detail here, but it was bad, bad. And nothing could have prepared me for how truly awful the ending was. It was bad, bad. And so again, it's just like I put in that effort. I did like the 30-day no contact. I worked on myself, which was good. But let's be honest. In the back of my mind, it's like, okay, well, I'm doing this because I want to get back together with my ex. Played it cool, followed the script to a T, and got back together with her. And it's just like, okay, it's basically like, burying a corpse after someone's died, and then being like, oh my gosh, I really miss them, and you dig them back up. And they're not the person they were when they were alive. They're a corpse. And you drag them out of the grave and you're like, "Oh my god, I missed you. It'll just be like old times." No. No, it won't. You're holding on to a corpse. And you can have some fun. I mean, you can pretend that things are back the way they used to be, but I don't think they're going to. So, in that situation, I was the fool. It is very foolish to try to get back with your narcissistic ex. I mean, we've heard the phrase win-win. I mean, it's a lose-lose. It's like, okay, you go through all this work and they just blow you off, or it fails or something like that. Okay, you just wasted all that time and effort trying to get back together with them when you could have just been working on starting your new life, the new chapter in your life. Or you put in all that work and effort and you get back together with them. Okay, full stop. You're back together with your narcissistic ex. why. That's, you know, already that is not going to end well. That is just sticking, you know, it's like getting burned and then just sticking your hand right back in the fire to get burned again. And yet, you know, if you go through a lot of the videos that, you know, the narcissistic, or narcissist experts, you know, make, that seems to be a very common question is, how do I get back together with my narcissistic ex? Okay, you know, April Fool's Day, if you want to be the fool and get back to with your narcissistic ex, I'll tell you how to do it. You know, have fun. So, yeah, I just thought that this would be kind of a silly video to make on April Fool's Day, and also one, you know, very fitting. So.